Hello again. As you know, I am Eli the Computer Guy over here for EliTheComputerGuy.com, and today's class is use WPeMatico to create a free WordPress AutoBlog for legitimate purposes. So today we're going to be talking about turning your WordPress site into an AutoBlog for legitimate reasons and doing it for free. So what is an AutoBlog? An AutoBlog is a nifty little plugin you can add to your WordPress site, and what it does is it turns RSS feeds from other people's content management systems into blog posts for your site. It will actually read the RSS feed, and then every entry in that RSS feed, it will turn it into a blog post for you. So now if you've been doing, a search engine optimization for over 4 or 5 years, you probably remember when AutoBlogs first came out. AutoBlogs originally were basically a scam. What would happen is you would scrape everybody else's website on the internet to pull in organic search terms to your website, and then by doing that, that would improve your search. The chances that you would come up in search engines, and then you would get traffic, and then people would click on your ads, and it was just a whole big mess. I do have to say that those days are over for AutoBlogs. I played with it back in the day. It gave my website a little bit of a boost, but it wasn't a very nice thing to be quite honest with you, and Google caught on, and now they will smack your hands if you're trying to use an AutoBlog for illegitimate purposes. Basically just to automatically create a site so you can dump a lot of advertising on it. Google will not help you out in PageRank if you do that. So you may be thinking then, well, Eli, if I can't use it for illegitimate purposes, AutoBlogging for illegitimate purposes, what would I use an AutoBlog for? I mean, really? Isn't it basically just for spamming the internet to create a spam website? Is there any other possible use for an AutoBlog? Well, the reality is that there are a lot of legitimate reasons in order to create an AutoBlog. Because the nice part with the AutoBlog is you can direct what RSS feeds the AutoBlog plugin will scrape. What this means is you can specify certain niches for the AutoBlog plugin to scrape so that you get new news stories from those particular niches. So for me, the reason that I'm creating the AutoBlog now is a lot of my fans have asked me, what kind of websites do I read? What kind of stories, news stories on the internet do I read? And I go to Ars Technica, and I go to TechCrunch, and I go to CNET, and I go to a lot of different sites. Well, my thought with creating this AutoBlog is basically to come up with my own technology version of Google News. So this will go out, it will scrape the RSS feeds of all the different websites that I read. It will put that in one single website, so I can go through, I can scan through articles. If there's an article I want to read, I can just click on it, and sometimes I'll go to TechCrunch, and sometimes I'll go to Ars Technica, and sometimes I'll go to CNET, and sometimes I'll go to Wall Street Journal. It doesn't matter. Basically, these are all the links with a little synopsis of what will be talked about in the article. So that's one of the reasons that I am creating this particular AutoBlog, the AutoBlog that I'm showing you today. There are other reasons that you may want to create an AutoBlog too. So here in the Baltimore area, if you know, I talk about how we have a lot of zealots for the Baltimore tech scene. There's a lot of people running around Baltimore, a lot of these startup folks who think somehow Baltimore City is going to become the next Silicon Valley. I'm not even going there. I'm not even going there. But, these people have a tendency to write a lot of blog posts. Whether or not I agree with what they are writing, they write a lot. So there are a lot of these different startup professionals in our area that believe Baltimore City will be the second coming of Silicon Valley, and they write blog posts about why they think that. Again, we're not going there about whether I agree, but they write their arguments. The issue is that all of these arguments are spread across 10 or 20 different bloggers' websites. So you may go to one blogger's website, but will you go to David Troy's website and Mike Brenner's and Mike Sabelsky's and this guy and that guy and the other guy and the other guy? They may all have good arguments that actually fit in well together, but I'm not going to go to all those different blogs. You're not going to go to all those different blogs. All the other people in the Baltimore tech scene, again, they may hit one blog or the other, but they're not going to see all of that material that's being written. Well, if they created a Baltimore tech scene AutoBlog, you could pull in the RSS feeds from all of these different bloggers in the local area so that you get one place you could go to see the argument that Baltimore City will be the second coming of Silicon Valley. You can decide whether or not it's true. But this is one of the ways that you can aggregate niche information to create something that is useful. All these people are blogging anyway, and a lot of them, again, whether or not I agree with their arguments, a lot of them actually write very well. So this is a way to very quickly create like your own local technology news magazine on the internet. The other reason an AutoBlog may be useful, as any employer knows, it is very difficult to maintain the professionalism and the professional knowledge of your employees within some professions. The problem is many people get trained, they get certified, they get educated, and then that's about the last time that they pick up a book. They don't know what is currently going on in their profession, which can be a very, very big problem for you, the employer. Because when you have customers and clients that come in, the more currently knowledgeable your employees are, the more that will impress your clients, and then the more your clients are impressed, the more likely they are to hand you money, right? Well, if you created an AutoBlog for your professional field, and then if you're an employer, you set everybody's homepage to that AutoBlog. This is a very simple, inexpensive way to try to keep up their professional development. If every single time they open up Internet Explorer or Google Chrome, they are confronted with local or current news about their profession, hopefully they will read some of that, and then that's additional professional development you can have. So there are legitimate reasons why you would use these AutoBlogs. Again, if you were thinking about using the illegitimate reasons for AutoBlogs, I would say give it up. Again, Google does realize this is happening. They do realize why people are doing it, and Google is very fed up with it. So if you try to put an AutoBlog on a legitimate website now, it will decrease your page rank. So do not do this for illegitimate reasons. But legitimate reasons you may do the AutoBlog, again, is to create like a news aggregator for your profession, or if you're in a niche like Big Nate 84 up in the Boston area, he's talking about getting technical professionals together. Well, imagine if up there he created one of these AutoBlogs to pull in the posts from all these local technology bloggers. That can be an initial keystone for creating that greater tech scene, if you get what I'm saying. So basically what this AutoBlog does is you're using a WordPress site. So you got to know WordPress, and you got to be able to install WordPress. Once you have a WordPress site, all you do is you add this plugin called WPeMatico, and you set some of the configuration settings. Everything beyond that, you know, if you want it to look different, you have to change the theme. If you want to add other plugins such as AdSense or Google Analytics, you would add plugins just like you would to any other WordPress website. But the main thing that I'm showing you here is how this WPeMatico works, because I really think it's great. So let's go to the computer now, so I can show you what's going on, because again, it's one of these things. It's just such a simple, free, wonderful tool that's great to use. So basically, we are sitting here, and this is the new site that I've created. It's not quite live for you guys yet, but it does exist. So elithecomputerguy.com/etcgnews/. So this is the news AutoBlog. And if you scroll down, you can see that there's a lot of stuff in here already. BlackBerry, popular BBM app, what you need to to do to get more women at your conference or company, GitHub for recipes. Now these are all of the articles that get pulled in from the RSS feed, and if you click on the title you will see that you go to the original article. So this what came out of VentureBeat. If I go back, I can scroll down and see if I go to any other things like Windows 8 right here. That's another article. That goes back to VentureBeat too. So I've put in a few different RSS feeds that it's scraping, and this is what it does. So it automatically creates all of these posts. There's stuff on Visual Studio and blah 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 blah. The website that you want to go to in order to get WPeMatico is WordPress.org extend plugins WPeMatico, and this is where you get it from. Now again, as I talk about, licensing is very important. So if we scroll all the way down, we can see this has a nice GNU license, and so it's free to use, to redistribute, to modify, so on and so forth. So the version that I am using and that I think is fine is free. They of course, as all these companies do, have a pro version. If you pay $90, you get some additional features. But all you're going to do is you're going to go to WordPress.org, WPeMatico, download this, upload it to your WordPress site, activate it on your WordPress site, and then once you've done that, we can go and we can set the settings. So when this creates, when you activate WPeMatico on your WordPress blog, it creates a little menu item here. When you click on the menu item, you can see different campaigns and we can see settings. So if we go to settings, this is just a very, very simple set of settings. Most of this stuff I would not mess with. The one thing that you may want to look at here is this cache images. I would say stay away from caching images unless you know you have a lot of extra resources on whatever server your WordPress site is running on. What this means is when this downloads, when this is writing the post from the RSS feed, if there are images in the post, does it download a local version of the image, or does it simply point back to the image from its original location? If it has to download all of those images and store them locally, that's going to take up a lot of storage. It's going to take up a lot of bandwidth. Again, if you have a server that can handle it, maybe you'd want to do it. I would say to leave this unchecked. After that, what you're going to do is you're going to go and you're going to add a new campaign. So when you add a campaign, you're going to be adding a lot of information. So let's go over to a campaign that I've already created. So this is the main campaign. So with this, you create a campaign title, then you can create a campaign description. From there you go down, and what you're going to be doing is you're going to be adding the different RSS feeds that you want this plugin to scrape. So we can see here I'm scraping Ars Technica, TechCrunch, Pando Daily, GigaOM, and VentureBeat. You can just keep continuously adding RSS feeds. I'm not sure how many total RSS feeds it can take, but I'm sure it can take quite a few. It can probably take up to 20. Then once you've added the RSS feeds that you want to scrape, so you would get those RSS feeds by going to the individual websites such as Ars Technica and TechCrunch and looking for the little RSS link to give you the feed, or you can simply do a Google search such as Google TechCrunch RSS feed or Pando Daily RSS feed, and it should give you the information, and you just add the link there. Once you come down, it'll then ask you for the max items to create on each fetch. So every time this thing goes out to scrape the RSS feeds, how many items should it get at a time? Should it get 1? Should it get 2? Should it get 550? You just plug in the number here. If you say 0, what it says is to scrape all of the different posts within the RSS feed and grab them all. It asks you what date you should use. So do you use the original date when the feed was originally created, or do you use the date when you actually pull it in and create it on your website? Who is the author? I just left this as admin. Should the post title be a link to the source? I would say yes. Always make it a link to the source. Strip links from content? I would say no. That's kind of spammy. Leave all the links. Make sure everything works. Are discussions open? Can people leave comments? This, again, enable cache for images. I would say do not check that. And so on and so forth. So this is the middle set of the different settings that you can give. Now on the right hand side, then it gives you the options for how you are going to go out and how you are going to scrape those RSS feeds. So when you scrape the RSS feeds, what will be the status of the posts that are created? Will they be published? Will they be private? Or will they be draft? I would say, unless you want to really just messy administrative headache, just always make sure it's published. Then what kind of type do you want these posts to be created as? Do you want them to be created as posts? Do you want them to be created as pages? Or do you want them to be created as attachments? Again, I would leave that as the default post. If you try to create a zillion pages, that's just going to be very, very nasty. The next thing is the schedule. So how often will this plugin go out to scrape information from these RSS feeds? So I have it set here for 5 minutes, every 5 minutes. So every 5 minutes, any hour, any day, any month, any weekday. So theoretically, you could have this do it only at 1 o'clock in the morning every Sunday. That's your own business. I would just put it at 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 30 minutes. The only real thing that I would say you have to worry about is, again, the load on your server. If you're using shared hosting, this does take a lot of CPU resources and a lot of RAM resources whenever it runs. So you may not want it running a whole lot. Because this is on my personal server, I know I can hammer it every 5 minutes and there won't be any problems. If you're running this on a shared hosting server, I would say have it run every hour just to make sure you don't use up too many resources and irritate the administrators. The final thing down here is, do you want it to auto add categories to your blog? So whenever it's scraping through the RSS feed, it's looking for categories and tags. For this particular plugin, it will auto add the categories if you would like it to. That's, again, it's kind of up to you. There's a zillion categories out there. And then if you want a log file sent to you, you can add your email address here. So if for some reason every time it scrapes, it creates a log file. So if you want that email to you, it can email it to you. So once you're done with everything, all you would do is you would hit this update button and then it would run at the next scheduled time. If you want to make sure everything is working properly, you can click this Run Now button and it will run the plugin right at this second, so it'll scrape the information. If we go here, we can see it just processed 20 posts and it has a log. And if you look through here, we can see what happened. So basically it went through, it added some category. The nice part is look here where it says checking for duplicated content. So you don't have to worry that it's going to create content more than one time. So it does check to make sure whether or not a post has already been created. If a post has been created, it skips that, and if not, it creates the post. So now that I ran that, I don't know, it's a little late at night, so I don't know if there'll be any modifications. Okay, there we go. So we can see it just pulled in an automatic post for Deja Vu Beach Mint. Blah, blah, blah. So it added in those 20 posts. So that's all there is to WPeMatico. Again, I think this is just a great tool for legitimate reasons. For you guys creating this news site for my fans, again, you can see the stuff that, A, you can see the stuff that I'm reading, and B, it makes it easier for me to read. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I can just create this one site that's pulling in the information from VentureBeat and TechCrunch and Ars Technica and GigaOM, and I have that on one thing, then when I wake up in the morning, I can grab my cup of coffee, I can grab my iPod, and I can just, or my iPad, I can just go in and I can scroll through and see the news for the day. Now, the one weird quirk, and I'm gonna tell you, this is really weird, it's really bizarre how the technology world works, is when websites, content management systems, send out their RSS feeds. They can limit how much of the content is sent out in that RSS feed. So they can say whether the entire article is sent out in the RSS feed or whether only 3 or 4 lines of the article are sent out in the RSS feed. Why this is important is you don't want a whole bunch of these AutoBlog sites scraping your entire website and taking all of the content. You only want these AutoBlog sites to be able to take, 3 or 4 lines so somebody can read the information and then go back to the original source. So when I started using AutoBlogs for illegitimate reasons, like 5 years ago, the weird thing is that all the RSS feeds cut you off at about 5 lines. You couldn't import any more than 5 lines. That's just how the RSS feed was set up. Well, now that I've set this up today, I'm seeing that a lot of these websites allow the RSS feed to give you the entire article. So some of the articles that I pull in only have a paragraph or so, and then you have to click the little button to read more. But a lot of these, you pull in the entire article. That is bad administration from these web publishers' point of view. That's just horrendous administration. They should only be allowing you to pull in 4 or 5 lines. So the one thing that I will warn you, in this litigious society, in this copyright law society where everybody is worried about pirates and such, if you're finding that the feeds that you're pulling in are entire articles and not just snippets of articles, you should go in and find some other WordPress plugin that will actually limit how much gets shown on your particular website, because you don't want to be accused of basically ripping off all of these other different web publishing ventures. One, it's just not good karma, and 2, theoretically you might get sued for it. So that is the only warning thing that I will give you. Again, I don't know why. 4 or 5 years ago, you could only grab 4 or 5 lines out of any blog post that was on an RSS feed, but now it appears that you can grab the entire article, and that might be a mess. So depending on what plugins you're using for your website, you may try to find something that limits your article size to a certain number of lines. Yeah. So, as you know, I'm Eli the Computer Guy for EliTheComputerGuy.com. This was use WPeMatico to create a free WordPress AutoBlog for legitimate reasons. Again, there are legitimate reasons. Like I say, the Baltimore tech scene here, love them or hate them, they create a lot of blog posts about the scene. Imagine how useful it would be if there was some kind of automatic system to pull all of those posts into one centralized location so everybody could discuss, comment, read, so on and so forth. Again, from a professional standpoint, I'm creating an auto blog for myself and for you guys so that I can pull in all of the types of articles that I would be reading so that we're all on the same page. So again, there are legitimate reasons for doing this. The illegitimate reasons at this point in time, they really are not worth it. If you try to set up an auto blog on a legitimate website, it's going to cause you nothing but pain from Google's perspective. So, as always, I enjoyed teaching this class and look forward to seeing you at the next one.